Good morning, good afternoon, and or good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to a very special edition of the Warriors Den from home this time. We hope you guys are safe. Want to let you guys know that today's Warriors Den for Year 4, Season 2, Tyranny, is actually pre-recorded, but that's not going to stop us from talking from a bunch of great stuff that's going on. Join alongside with me for this great show is, of course, Clarissa. How are you today?
I'm doing great. It's been a while since we had our last Warriors Den. So it's really good to be back and talking with the community again. And also, of course, hanging out with you.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Stop it. I'm doing great. I'm so excited to talk about today because, there's obviously 1 week away from Year 4 Season 2 Tyranny. We revealed that stuff. You got the image that is going to bring up a lot of questions, okay? There's a lot of questions that you guys are going to have for this season. They will all be answered in due time, ladies and gentlemen. So that being said, we've got a bunch of guests. We've got so many different elements to talk about that we'll get through. But before that, we want to reward you for being here. And so we want to explain to you a couple of things. So let's start off with Azarus. What can you say about Azarus to the folks at home, Clarissa?
Yeah, so for a reminder for our folks, Azarus is a Twitch extension where you can answer questions based on the show and get credits called Azas, and then you can use those Azas to redeem For Honor rewards such as XP boots, scavenger crates, champion passes, etc. So all you need to do is authorize the Azarus extension. There's going to be a red dot on the screen somewhere, and that's where the questions were going to pop up. Then after you get your credits, you can redeem them at forhonorgame.com/redeem. So all you need to do is just pay attention because all the answers is right in the show.
You heard it from Clarissa. You heard it. So there you go, guys. We've got also, of course, Twitch drops that we've got for today's show. Let's get right into that. So 1 scavenger crate per 30 minutes of accumulated viewing time. That's just a guarantee when you're watching this thing. So then after that, we've got 100K steal that's up for grabs just for watching. So a handful of lucky viewers that will be able to get 100K steal for Year 4 Season 2 Tyranny. So many good things to purchase. So you can use that if you get the chance. So that's great.
Yeah, it's exactly. And we just want to remind those that with the Twitch drops, the notification will be delayed around 24 hours just for the full processing for Twitch and Ubi. So just be a little patient.
Yes.
When you win it, you just get it. Yeah, it'll be in there.
And you know what, guys? That's enough of the chit-chat, the blah-blah, because we want to get down to business. And to get down to business for Year 4, Season 2 of Tyranny, okay? Tyranny. I'll say it again. Tyranny. That starts June 11th, next week. We're going to hit you with a little story trailer in about 3, 2, 1 seconds. Let's do it now. Let's go. Let's go.
What do we fight for? Peace? Peace is a false hope. It is a lie told by leaders who have lost the will to fight. But the time of reckoning has come. We will cleanse Heathmore from the liars and the wicked. We will start a new era for the truest heroes of this world. Peace is poison. We are war.
Wow. Wow.
So cool.
Okay. Mind blown. That was the first reveal of the Year 4 Season 2 Tyranny story trailer. I've got questions. The people at home, I know you've got questions. And to answer those questions, we've got 3 very special guests. We've got Nicolas Bombré, the game director of For Honor, Elise Trin, game writer, my boss, Clarissa's boss, Monsieur Pascal Leroux, brand director, to join us alongside today. How are you guys today?
Pretty good.
Fantastic.
Doing great.
We've got a lot of things to cover, okay? I know that right now, inside my heart, I need a lot of questions that need to be answered. Let's start off from the top. Year 4, Season 2, Tyranny. Nico, can you explain what makes this season more different than the others?
Well, you remember when we announced Year 4, we talked about the journey and how we wanted to make For Honor feel like it's a living world that's evolving over time. Well, I think that you'll find that as we transition from Hope to Tyranny and as the season goes on, we really push the envelope on that front this season. I'm super excited because of this, also because of the fact that it's, I think, the season that is the most content-packed, full of surprises. I think it's going to be our best season yet. I think by now you've noticed that we are transitioning from peaceful times with Hope to darker times, I think, as the trailer showed.
Okay, I got a question on that because at the end there seemed to be a familiar face. I don't know, this person Apollyon that was part of the campaign. Is she dead? I don't understand.
I mean, I don't know who that is. Apollyon was supposed to be killed after the campaign. So
that's how you're going to play us, Nico?
All in due time. All in due time. We'll be revealing things as the season goes on. This is only the beginning. And talking about beginning, I'm super excited to announce the return of the true fan favorite activity, Test Your Mettle, for the beginning of Season 2 Tyranny.
Hey.
So you've been asking for this for a long, long time. It's finally here with a little twist.
Sweet.
That's amazing. Yeah, so like, Nico just talked about how we went from peaceful times to now a darker time. So my personal favorite about Season 2 is the direction of the narrative. So Elise, what could you tell us about the narrative for this season?
Honestly, I can't tell much. To be honest, without spoiling anything, it's a tricky exercise for me. But I'm gonna do my best. So basically, you remember in Season 1 we had the honor games, right? For the truce, it was more a peaceful season with the warriors trying to achieve some sort of agreement between factions. And they had those kind of Olympic games, with warriors fighting each other. Now, Test Your Mettle is back, and it's part of our lore now. It's called Mettle Trials, and it's basically warriors reenacting battles from the past against impersonators of Apollyon, the Blackstones, and all the your favorite characters in the campaign. So that's where we are starting in Season 2, and then at some point, a new hero will come, and that's pretty much what I can say without spoiling any surprises.
So many surprises, but you know what? We can keep going with that because, of course, with the countdown, we saw the key art for the season of Tyranny, and we mentioned before in Year 4, at the beginning of Year 4, that we're taking a different direction with For Honor this year, right, Pascal? So we mentioned that we were working with renowned artists. So what can you tell us about the artists who worked for this season, Pascal?
Yes, first of all, I'm beyond happy by the final results and by this collaboration. This time it was fantastic. This time we worked with Carl Fitzgerald, a tremendous illustrator coming from UK. And if you don't know him yet, guys, Google his name and dive into his universe because honestly, he's so talented, so talented. And to support the narrative that Elise just mentioned, for Tyranny's asset, we wanted to have a little shift in terms of tone and style. And we were looking for something more cinematographic and more atmospheric, if I can say that like this. When we saw Carl's art, we were, okay, we definitely need to work with this guy. And it happened. We are very happy. And it's funny because before this interview, I was watching again this trailer. And, I was pausing it randomly. And every time I was telling myself, wow, this image could be framed on my wall and it would be super great. It's a his style is a bit like it was, if it was a painting. And visually, it's fabulous from my perspective, and I hope from the perspective of all our community.
And I'm sure they will. Obviously, we've got a bunch of questions within this beautiful artwork, whether it be the story trailer or the actual iconic image. But let's dive into the actual content of this season. Nico, can you give us a little bit of an overview of what players can expect? I know that there's two major milestones. We see June 11th, which starts next week, and August 6th, which is a big piece as well in terms of title update. So can you run us by maybe the second title update where the new hero releases?
Sure. So this season is going to shake things up. So mid-season, the big change is obviously going to be the introduction of a new hero, a new playable hero. Who might that be? We won't tell right now. You'll find out soon enough. The second major shift in the meta is going to be the release of the core combat update. This is all the changes that you guys tested in the latest testing round. By the way, this was our most successful testing round in terms of attendance ever. So thank you all for playing. We gathered a ton of great feedback. What I can tell you right now is that the team has been hard at work to implement a lot of the feedback that you gave us regarding damage tweaking, regarding light spam problematics, regarding missing feats balancing. The team has been looking at this, and right now we are aiming at a release for that mid-season point. You can expect that the spirit of the update is going to be the same. So it's really about making sure that the core combat experience is more consistent, is faster, so that you have a more dynamic gameplay experience overall.
And so more news on that, of course, later on during the season, I'm expecting,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. As we move closer to the release date, we will release article, full patch note to give you all of the details. This is all we can tell right now, but know that it's coming.
Okay, and so now that's for August 6th. Now, for next week, can you dive us a little bit more deeper? I'm seeing Centurion rework here, hero
Sure.
balancing, all of these great things. Please elaborate.
I think Centurion rework is going to be the major point here. It's finally here, and to reward you for your patience, we have an extra surprise that you'll find out about during the show. We have some more hero balancing elements that Stefan will detail. You can also expect new gear as well as a new battle pass with its own visual identity, specific rewards for you to grind throughout the season. And as I mentioned before, medal trials are going to be here to kickstart the season in style, because one thing I did not mention is that we have retrofitted the Apollyon Legacy rewards. So get ready to play and loot all of those awesome rewards.
Just incredible. Just incredible. This is all of this stuff that's coming up. So much work that was done too by the team. It's crazy.
Absolutely. Yeah, and on that note, if I may, Mike.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, because this season for the dev team, of course, it's a very special one, because we are shipping it from home due to the context, of course, that everybody know. And on that note, I just wanted to give some shout outs to quite a lot of people, starting with the studio IT team. They did an incredible job supporting us and allowing us to work from home in the best condition possible. That's awesome. Also to the dev team, because at the beginning, this new situation with the pandemic was quite a challenge for us, of course, because we needed to adapt. And as you all know, the For Honor team really love challenges. And at the end of the day, we adapted quite quickly. And thanks to the hard work of the dev team and the support of the studio, we've made it. So I'm on a personal note, I'm very impressed and very happy by this. And last but not least, I wanted to also give a shout out to our players for their support, because in this time it's so appreciated by us, and also thank them for being patient during the 6 weeks delay. We had no other choice, but we hope that they enjoyed the throwback events and the Into the Fray tournaments in the meantime, and it's happening. Season 2 is coming, and trust me, it will be memorable for our players and for us also, of course.
And that's exactly right. We've got June 11th. That's the launch date for this season, Year 4, Season 2. And we're going to go into all of the content today in terms of what you'll expect next week. So before we let you go, and I want to thank you for all of your time here, can you guys give me one word, apart from tyranny, of course, to describe this season? Nico, why don't you start?
Surprise.
Surprise.
Ambitious.
Vicious. And Pascal?
Corruption.
Corruption.
Yes.
Corruption. I like it. I like it. Well, there you heard it, guys. We've got a bunch of more guests that are coming on to talk about the content. Thank you again for your time, and we'll be right back with Stefan to talk about the fight update with your boy Centurion on the line. We'll see you right after this.
Hello and welcome back. We are here with no one else than Stefan Jawinski. You see how I'm like, whoop whoop. How are you, Stefan?
I'm doing great. How are you guys today?
Doing pretty great.
Hype the shit, dude. Hype the shit.
Good.
Let's get
day.
Yeah, let's get right into it. We've got so much to talk about, and the big point of discussion here is our boy Centurion. Before we get into the actual update, I want to start from the beginning because that's just the way I am, okay? I want to understand, when we talk about the Centurion, this update that's coming to the players next week, maybe you can give us a little bit of background, like, from the get-go, what did you guys try to accomplish, when setting out for, I want to call it maybe a rework / update for this character?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's been a bit of a journey to get to this point for the Centurion. Basically, when we play this character on live, usually the kind of problems that we get into are we would like this character to feel powerful. It always kind of does when it's doing its thing. We'd like it to be able to do its thing a little bit more often. At the same time, we don't like it to be quite a character who's like, I'm going parry fishing and I'm going to gank you into an interactive cutscene. So it's a matter of like, can we keep the good stuff? Can we neuter the bad stuff, basically?
Gotcha. And so that being said, so that takes us maybe to our first testing grounds with Centurion. That was in season 3 of year 3. So that was for the Jormungandr, if I'm not mistaken. I'm a historical buff when it comes to the For Honor's history. But yeah, so can you take us through, the initial step of going into that testing grounds and what you guys were trying to accomplish then?
Totally. Basically, it was a matter of like analyzing first what are the problems that this character has on live. When you look at Centurion on live, Centurion doesn't have a lot of 1v1 tools, for example. The late chain is 600 and 700 MS. Zone can't be feinted, so it's even a parry on hit, which is crazy. Quick grab doesn't force a reaction or really do anything, so the purpose is very mysterious at this point. Legion kick can't really kick somebody who's paying attention to you. And then in group fight scenarios, it's a different problem. It's this character is really good at ganking even through revenge, the pins and so on, even beat revenge armor, which is inconsistent with the rest of the rules. So it's got a very strange goal right now in either 1v1 or group fight games. So we're trying to like pull away that style and trying to fix some of those problems and give it a bit of a new role in the package while still maintaining the identity. That's the important part. So what we did in testing rounds, just to actually answer your question instead of just meander off to wherever I'm going, we tried a number of things. We saw that we got rid of like quick grab, for example, and we put jab in there. We made jab feintable, zone feintable, all kinds of stuff. This was really good because these pieces actually worked well. The stuff that wasn't really working well is what players identified on the testing ground, which is cool. In their feedback, we'd see things like they could roll away from jab after a light hit, for example, for free with nothing Centurion could do. That sucks. Obviously, there shouldn't be 100% escape options for people. On the other side of the thing, even when it was working for the Centurion, we find that the opponent still found it annoying, because even though there wasn't a cutscene in the testing grounds, the amount of times you got hit by the punch, when it had stun property, meant you had like flashbang in your face, boom, 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 constantly. So it's a matter of trying to adjust the number of these things. Other items were stuff like wall splat didn't give any real beneficial punish, so how do you get to your Eagle's Talon or whatever? And there are a number of bugs with things like Lion's Roar, Haymaker, and so on. And the last thing they identified was like, hey, Legion Kick still is useless in this version. So basically that's what came out of the testing ground feedback.
Okay, well, and that I guess takes us into today, and what changes you guys made to address that feedback. So I guess you can go into the details of like, you know, okay, now we've went through that initial phase of testing grounds, we've gotten the feedback. Next week, players will be playing something. Let's dive into those details.
Totally, yeah, exactly. I mean, coming out of that testing ground, basically it was the amount of time to look at the feedback and figure out how do we adjust each of these things. So I guess let's hit it without further ado, right?
Let's take a look here.
Cool. So sent, here we go. All right, so top to bottom, I'll kind of give a little bit so the people who haven't seen the testing grounds can see a little bit of like, what is the stuff that was good then and we're keeping, and then what is the new stuff. So we'll kind of go. Zone attack, anyway, is now feintable, obviously. This is what people want, this is what people need. And it doesn't make Centurion sad to actually hit the move and get parried afterwards. So yes, cool. Second attack is feintable, and third attack is feintable. And you'll see, okay, that was the first, feinting on the second attack there, feinting on the third attack there, and now we're going to target swap them. Yeah, Clarissa loves her target swaps, doesn't she?
You know, when you got a gank or when you're in a 1vx situation, you gotta learn how to target swap. But, you know, what's really cool about this one is it gives the players more control, and it makes the zone attack more viable because, you know, you can, instead of letting it rip and then watching you be like, oh no, they're gonna block it, easy parry, I'm dead. Now they can swap, or they can feint it. Correct.
Exactly, so he's a little more unpredictable in this case, so that's going to be good for him, which would be cool. Okay, after that, Charged Heavy Finisher, as we saw in the testing grounds, is feintable, even once it reaches the unblockable portion. So we'll see a video for this one as well. And we'll see the character lets it rip first, I guess, followed by feint. Yep, you saw the unblockable there. So the VFX and the unblockable icon, the fire and so on, all appear. And there's the guard break feint as well.
So these are, with the change, these are 3 options that players can use to, you know, have some mix-ups into their combat, right?
Exactly. I mean, on live, because you can't feint that, once you see that, you're like, okay, not much you can do about that. I'll just punish him for trying to hit me. And here, now it's actually going to be a threatening option. That's going to be super cool.
Yeah, I think this one's a good tool, especially when you want to condition your opponent. So it's like, you know, when you want to keep doing it, like feint, and then eventually maybe throw out the guard break at the end, or maybe let it rip because they might think you're gonna feint it or whatnot. So it's really
you have choice.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be cool. All right, let's keep going through this. Jab. Okay, as we saw in the testing grounds, it is now feintable, but we made a number of timing options here, timing changes to this in the branchings and so on. So if you do jab confirmed light and then you attempt to jab, it's going to work. You have options to actually hit that or feint guard break that and so on. Same if you go to heavy and feint guard break and so on. These feints into guard break and such are actually going to work now, which is super cool. Besides that, we've tried to reduce the frustration of being punched so often. We've removed the stun property on this, so you're not going to get flashbanged constantly. Jab is also target swappable as you're charging it. For Clarissa, wherever she is over here, personally.
Yeah.
Great point.
And we added
That's a great point.
and we added an uninterruptible stance just before the hit, similar to, say, Warden's shoulder bash. Let's keep going through a little bit. Light attacks. Okay, so second light attack used to be 600 ms. Third light attack used to be 700 ms. Can anyone imagine what this attack actually looks like on live? I know I can't. So we've made it 500 here. And now you can see it. Probably for the first time in a year or 2 years, which would be cool. So hopefully trying to bring this to parity with everybody else. And just give you a few more options after getting a confirmed jab, or for confirmed light on something. Cool. So let's put it all together there. On the next one, we've removed quick throw entirely. So again, quick throw threatens a guard break. However, the other options that this character has are light or heavy or whatever, right? So if you know that, you know you don't have to dodge anything after you get hit by something. You can just stare, try to block the light, and if he does a quick throw, you just tech it. So it's not a scary move. Instead, we've replaced it by jab. So all through this chain now, you're going to be terrified by, like, is it going to be jab? Is it going to be fully charged jab? Is it going to be jab, feint, guard break? Is it going to be whatever, right? Light or heavy as well. Okay, cool. I think we've got a video to show lights and jabs all put together here. So light into jab, light into jab, light into fully charged jab.
Wow.
Getting a beating over there.
Yep, so as you can see, there's a variety of things you can try at this point, and you'll see, I think Centurion's even trying to mix it up even further. So it should be some exciting stuff. What else did we change after that? Parry counter. So one of the things identified by players in the testing ground was when you get a wall splat off of parry counter, it's really not very satisfying. You didn't get the charge heavy very often, and you didn't get anything else. So here what we're trying to do is allow jab after the parry counter instead of kick, which means on wall splat you can get the fully charged jab for free. So this should bring you to Ego's Talon, at least through some set. So that's pretty cool. Centurion's still going to get a couple options to do big damage on parry punishes. So we're kind of hoping the identity will still be maintained, at the same time removing the extremely long parry into, you know, kick into fully charged jab, into, or fully charged heavy, into fully charged jab, into Eagle's Fury, into everything else in the universe, and trying to bring it down to a set rate. So good reward, reasonable amount of time. That's the idea there.
Basically, you want to make sure that you're not near a wall.
Still, I mean, Centurion's always going to be friends with walls. That's for sure.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, if you want to be extreme, you could try like threatening a jab, feint guard breaking at a ledge or something like that. If you're going for broke, I don't know. Try some stuff. All right, let's keep going through this. Legion Kick, another thing identified as not good enough on live. So before it was 600 ms, we've switched it to 500 ms. This is more in line with like Conch Warlord, that kind of stuff. So we expect forward Legion Kicks to be threatening your 1v1 opponent. Similarly, you see on the movement side, the Centurion's had a lot of attacks that really didn't have a lot of range. He's got a T-Rex arm syndrome kind of style. And at the same time, his forward strafe was really, really quite slow. And this meant a lot of times people could kind of backwalk or backspace him really easily. So we're trying to alleviate that. And I think we can show a super quick video on the Zanhu trying to escape and not succeeding, at least in strafe versus strafe. So I would recommend if you're Centurion in 1v1, keep your stick forward, and then you'll be happy.
Okay, well this is good because you know, he's meant to be played as a close distance kind of character, so hopefully
exactly.
Yeah.
Get up close, bully them as possible for this guy now. So that's pretty cool. And then the last change we've made there, Eagle's Fury, that's a dodge forward heavy. It's now 800 ms. It used to be 1,000, and we slightly increased the range. So again, it's another step of like, hey, can we keep you close? Basically, is the intention here. And that's roughly what's going on with Centurion.
That's absolutely amazing. I know that this has been a long time coming for a lot of players, and obviously with the delay, we haven't had the chance to speak about this beforehand. So now we do get the chance. I'm just wondering, and as maybe people that are mains of the Centurion, how does this affect their playstyle? Does his role change? Do they have to get used to a new role within 4v4 situation, 2v1s, whatever it may be? How does his playstyle adapt after these changes?
I think it's going to be really interesting, actually. So in 1v1s, basically we saw, hey, play extremely defensively, go parry fishing, and then punish like heck when you can. I mean, you're still going to be able to parry like everybody else. That's not taken away. The extreme benefits are removed. The cutscene is removed. So the uninteractive element is going to be gone. You're going to see stuff like, hey, if you can jab it, you can dodge, right? You're not going to be like full heavy into full punch into Eagle's Talon. You're going to have dodge opportunities in the midpoint of this. So that's going to be really cool. At the same time, before you really didn't have options to initiate combat or to sustain combat once you got it going. Now you can. You can walk forward, Legion kick them. They're going to have to dodge at some point. If you do, empty dodge forward into guard break is going to work. Once you hit with Legion kick, you get your light. You're going to start up your whole like, is it jab, is it feint guard break, is it whatever. That's going to be really cool. And the longer you can keep this going, because it's like quite a good set of options and powerful at this point, it's going to allow Centurion to fight and press buttons, and that's going to be the best part. It's going to be high risk, but it's going to be good for him. At the same time, in 4s, Centurion's job really was like try to gank the crap out of someone who's about to get revenge, and don't really allow them to survive through revenge, which is niche and quite annoying, honestly. So that part's going to be gone. At the same time, improving the 1v1 aspect and stuff like the kick and so on will mean you can get the kill. And it's going to be really interesting to see how does this character evolve in group fights or not. Have to put it in the hands of the best players and see what happens.
Well, the good news is that they don't have to wait long, because it starts June 11th, and that's when the update will be available for our boy Centurion. And that's not even all. We've got another surprise when it comes to our boys. So we'll see that later on, and you guys got a little tease at the intro. So that being said, there are a couple of other changes and updates in terms of fight. Why don't we get right into that? I guess my question to start you off is really, is there a common theme here in the changes that you're going to run through right now?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, most of the stuff you're going to see in the hero balancing segment here basically comes out of more feedback that we get from you guys. We're doing like a player survey every season, the last couple of seasons, where we ask you specifically, hey, what is frustrating? What is fair? What do you like? What do you don't like? And a lot of what you'll see in this particular patch is meant to address high frustration elements, properties on characters, as well as characters specifically. So we're going to see, hey, there's going to be uninterruptible stance nerfs. There's going to be stamina nerfs. Those are probably the top two things we'll see.
Sweet. So let's dive right in then.
Cool. Let's hit it. Yorm. Uninterruptible stance. You're going to see top heavy opener. Uninterruptible stance now starts at 600, was 400, and sides will now be 500. So this means if he's trying to feint, or sorry, if he's trying to parry, and he's right or he's wrong, blah, 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 there's going to be a little less leniency towards the Jormungandr in those states. Also, slightly later is a little more in line with a character like Warlord. So as you can see from Warlord, post our previous testing grounds, Warlord's become fairly meta, let's say. I don't think this will be atrocious to Yorm players, and at the same time feeling much more fair for everybody else. And Serpent Smite, which is dodge forward heavy. is going to be much later. Again, much more in line with Warlord timings than it was on live. Stamina damage and regeneration pause. This is also identified as a big element of frustration for characters. We've reduced the stamina damage done by the light opener, light finisher, and the guard break melee, while reducing the regeneration pause of all 4 of the melees on this character. Cool. Let's keep going. Finishers, light and melee finishers are now going to be frame disadvantaged. Light spam was the other complaint you'd see in some of these surveys. Basically, what this means is that if Jormungandr goes light, and you get hit, or block or whatever, if Jorm then tries to start up another chain, and you try to start up your light chain will outrun theirs. So it'll no longer be Jorm, 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 Jorm. It's going to be Jorm, Jorm, you. That's the idea. So don't be afraid to press buttons against Jorm anymore.
So for that part, sorry to interrupt. So so that happens only if it's confirmed, or just like no matter what, like if it's blocked, confirmed?
Basically in all situations. Same with melee finishers. Even if that hits, you're going to be the first one to act after that. And we've made slight timing adjustments that allow a little more ease of parry of the light finisher as well. So generally, you're going to have a couple more options when you're faced with that second attack from the Jorm. At the same time, the benefit that we're going to give Jorm here is the heavy to heavy finisher guard break actually now can work. Before you could roll it for free, and that's no longer going to be the case. So it should be cool. Hitokiri, same deal basically as Jorm here. Uninterruptible stance and the light finishers are usually the pieces called out on this character. So specifically, we're going to remove the uncharged heavy opener's uninterruptible stance. It's no longer going to have armor, basically. You still get it when you fully charge, and that's going to be all right. So sad days for Heavy on Red fans, but good days for everybody else. And then sweep, we're going to slightly make the uninterruptible stance a bit later as well. Again, this will be more in line with Warden timings that seem fair to me. Light finishers, same deal as Jorm. More or less same deal as Jorm, let's say. The difference is they will no longer be enhanced. So that means if you block, it will actually stop the Hitokiri, which would be cool. And we slightly adjusted timings so that it is a little easier to dodge or to parry the light finisher as well. So the expectation is to see less heavy on red and less light spam problems. Finally, the fun one. Who wants to pronounce this one? We've tried it a few times.
Senbonzakura.
Damn.
Terrible. That was terrible.
No, that was good. What?
No,
that was
no.
Actually, correct.
I'm gonna get roasted in the chat. I know for a fact. But let's go.
No.
Okay.
I think it's.
You know
fine.
what? I appreciate it, guys.
For me, I would have said Zenbonzakura, but I don't know.
That's a lot better. You see? Well, that outshined me. But please go ahead.
It's way better than us. So yeah, we'll just move on. We'll call it tier 4 of the Hitokiri.
What everyone basically knows it as. More
exactly. We're switching it to a top unblockable attack. Therefore, it is parryable. Therefore, it will auto parry instead of, the feel bad scenario of like I parry one character, but then Hitokiri kills me with the unblockable on the other side. So it's going to be cool, I think. Shugoki, same deal on the uninterruptible stance. Man, I wish there was a better name for uninterruptible stance. Put it in chat if you know what that is.
Yeah, it's a mouthful.
Light opener, we're going to make it a bit later to 300. It used to be 200. And the heavy opener, the uninterruptible stance will start at 433. Basically, same deal as the other characters. We'll make it a little bit later. It's still going to be all right for Shugoki, but heavy on red, or light on red in this case, is going to be a little less powerful. And then heavy opener charge, it used to be immune to guard break while charging, which meant that you would bounce off him a little more. So it should be a little bit easier to deal with Shugoki. All right, JJ, little one, HP is going down to 140. This brings it in line with everybody else in the cast as a 140 max, except for the next guy, Lawbringer, who's also coming to 140, thankfully. And finally, Impale on this guy is also going to follow the normal binding rules. There are a number of scenarios that he would get the Impale that other people would have bounced off. So we're going to unify these rules.
Awesome.
Okay, Nusha, she gets a buff. Everyone else gets nerfed, but she gets a buff. Tier 1 and Tier 4 feats. Small damage increase on her deadly duet.
I think you got it.
Duet.
Yeah, we'll go with duet.
We'll try that. Okay, cool. Yeah. And her Tier 4 feat, basically a variety of buffs. It's actually going to cause a light hit reaction now instead of no hit reaction. It's going to last her 10 seconds. It's going to deal 10 damage per tick instead of a weird variety of damages starting very low and working up to very high. Cooldown is going to be reduced as well. And although the radius will be slightly reduced, we're going to see a big visual feedback improvement on this one. It's a super hype feat. I really like it because it tries to control a fight without mass damage all at once, like a fire flask or something like that. So it's going to be exciting to see if people try this out and try to do some stuff with Nusha. Finally, last one, Blackbriar, the Bulwark nerf, finally. Bulwark counter is only going to be allowed to counter attacks. Is no longer going to be allowed to counter feet traps. There are weird ragdoll body things. There's stuff about people using interactions like entering or exiting ladders. No longer can you flip these people. Now you have to actually flip an attack that's incoming.
That makes perfect sense.
It does seem reasonable, doesn't it?
Well, thank you so much for stopping by, Stefan, and as well as your very good boy in the background that I see. That being said, we've got the full patch notes that are going to be released as of next week, June 11th, where you guys can get more details on all of those changes. And obviously, there's still more to come this season. We haven't even dived into the all of the changes that have to do with the core combat update, will come later on. So again, a big thank you for stopping by and talking about our boy Centurion, which we are not done with just yet. And that's a perfect segue to our next guest and our next segment, which is the new customization for this season. Mr. Andrew will be with us right after this. Thank you again, Stefan.
Thanks, Al.
And we are back with a very, very special guest, our friend Andrew Im, Associate Art Director on For Honor. How are you today?
Good. Incredible.
Incredible, or should we say incredibilis? Because yes, guys, we are not finished with the Centurion today. We've been teasing it all show. We've got a little surprise for you. Let's roll the goddamn tape as we start talking about customization. Look at this shit. Holy crap, he's got a face to the words incredibilis, ladies and gentlemen. This beautiful Italian man is now upon us. Andrew, can you tell us a little bit about coming up with this face? And this is something obviously that's completely new, a new armor set for the Centurion that shows this beautiful jawline, the mustache with the beard, the nose is very present. Tell us a little bit about your journey and the challenges in coming up with a face to someone that has been faceless in For Honor's history for the most part. Well, not for the most part, for the entirety of his career.
Right. Well, Centurion has a very interesting characteristic. If you play this character, you will know that his emotes, his movement, there's a confidence on his movement, but there's always also underneath it, there's a little bit of a cockiness there. His face has quite. I wanted to make his face a bit serious, but at the same time, there's also hidden smile that makes the ease the people and gives a humor. So there's a. interesting challenge to create his face, but then that was a pretty fun task that I had.
And coming up with that task, I mean, is it difficult? You know, do you want to use, like, you don't have to name necessarily, but I'm sure you're using references to come up with this face.
Of course. Basically, when we create the face, we use the collective unconsciousness as our
It's a mouthful.
guideline.
Don't worry about it.
Basically, yes. We watch a movie and there's an actor who acts acts like a Centurion in the movie. And once you see their face, that's like, oh, I remember that face who was acting in that way. That's how we use how we create it's the process of creating the face. So we choose couple actors and try to combine it to get the right feeling of this character, and that's how we completed his face.
It's right on the nose.
Yeah, I mean, well, speaking about the new face, we have to also talk about his armor, right? Like his set. So I'm assuming that this isn't just the only set that people can get.
No. There are variations of the Centurion's armor. This time, what we wanted to kind of do is a more traditional setup. Is the armor structures and there's a bear dive. You don't obviously don't see it from here, and then there's also the traditional sandals that will make it very looking like a Centurion from the Roman. It's like before that it was a bit of a For Honor fantasy on it, but this is a bit going towards the traditional the armor sets, and I think a lot of people were demanding to have this type of variations.
Yeah, well, these are amazing variations, but we have to talk about the rest of the season and the other heroes that are getting.
Of course, as we promised.
Yeah,
we
so
have,
what can you tell us
variations.
about this series? Yeah.
Exactly. Overall, I mean, as you guys know by now, the theme is a bit darker than before. I mean, the last season. We don't get to see all the details from this video. We don't see the back, so I'll leave that up to you guys to find out. But there's also always a hint of darkness within every variations. Or the mystery. So as you can see from the Peacekeeper, you see a Venetian mask on top of it. So there's also, you don't get to find out what she's thinking of it. But then visually, it's a quite interesting culture that I wanted to introduce. Also, those white pelt is something that is quite new for the word, and also very traditional. The mask for Kensei's mask with the nice mustache, and of course Orochi also just started to have the mask on of his own. Very interesting beard on the side. It's a metal the mask.
He doesn't look very happy. They don't look very happy. Yeah, they don't look happy at all.
It's a dark season. The darkest one. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Nobushi. So angry. It's creepy.
It's a bit creepy, yes.
Yeah.
And of course, the Shugoki, another pimped up version of it. It's
nice.
Very bling bling.
Very nice. And so when you come up with these new armor variations, obviously you're trying to encompass, like if we're looking at the Warlord, what are you trying to accomplish here? It's again in the spirit of creepiness, I'm assuming.
Well, not
intimidation.
Really. But at the same time, when we read the Reddit, there's always a demand from the player, and that's I'm trying to kind of satisfy their. So the one of the mask you saw it from the Warlord is one of them that people wanted to have a full mask version of the Warlord. So there is one variation that you will be able to use it to make sure that he has a full mask.
Edgy as all hell. So now you added a Gucci chain. Is that what that is? Is that
a little bit of a
little bling bling
here and there, bling bling here and there.
Walk into the club, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Another cool variation from the set, the new set that we introduced last time for the TND. For Shaolin, that's a very expressional mask. Another version of the Monkey King that we created.
I don't know how to
bit
describe that
surprised.
face. A little bit like surprise. Yeah, that's it. Surprised. Ooh,
Ooh.
that's what I'm imagining.
Very cool patterns and nice engravings on Nucia, and a masked version of JJ.
JJ's not looking as happy-go-lucky this time around. I'm sad to see that. Okay, well, that being said, that's not it, right? We've got to talk about obviously the weapons that are coming with this season. So what can you tell us about the weapons? And I know that we've got a cool video to look at all of them. So what were the this again is when we talk about the armors that we just saw. These are the lootable items that you get from, end of match drops and stuff like that. So let's dive into the weapons maybe.
Right, sure. I think there's a for season 14. There's a special weapon that we wanted to make for a special player. Clarissa can.
Yeah, so the first weapon that you're going to see is the Warden's weapon, and this one's special because it's for one of our players, Ogi, who honored us with his Make-A-Wish request, and so we chose the Warden because he said the Warden is his favorite weapon, and he named it as Ogden's Revenge. So shout out to you, Ogi, and to your Make-A-Wish chapter, and we hope that you're doing well during these times.
It was our pleasure to make a specific weapon for Ogi.
Yeah.
And so apart from that, when it comes to the weapons in the actual kind of theme of the season, obviously I'm seeing a lot of green. I can see that as maybe the common theme for these weapons.
Right. Overall, the color of this season is a toxic green. It's applied to throughout the whole weapon. You can just guess what that means, and then you'll find out eventually.
Yes.
These are just the reskinned weapons, and only the Black Prior. I think we just passed it, and the Woolins will have new visuals. But other than that, those are just the reskinned version. Just to remind you guys.
And of course, guys, we're doing this from home, so we don't have the flexibility of necessarily doing this live and taking the time and maybe even looking at your comments. So obviously, you guys could take a look and pause the video whenever you want to take a look at maybe your mains weapons. But obviously, these are all going to be available starting next week, June 11th, for Year 4 Season 2 Tyranny. For those of you who may be joining us late on the live stream, which is not very live because it's pre-recorded. But that being said, Andrew, for this season, we're gonna let these play out and take a look at all of these new reskin weapons. But what are you most excited about?
It's something that we weren't even be able to showcase right now, but then we'll slowly unveil the stuff, and as we are moving on, that it's going to be there.
So we're just at the tip of the iceberg, is what you're saying, basically.
You know what? I actually just want to reveal everything.
No, Andrew, you can't do it. Andrew, don't do it.
I'm gonna. If I had the player that I can. It's all in here. I saved it.
I'm incredible.
I just
always
couldn't
with
find
the
player.
props.
Give 1 second. No.
No, Andrew, you can't choose a VHS. This is 2020. We can't do this, okay?
We don't do this anymore?
No. That's, even as a boomer myself, I say that VHS it's done. That being said, okay, so we took a look at the weapons and armors that have to do with the lootable aspect of this season's content, but that's not all, right? Because we have the Battle Pass. Year 4 Season 2 is coming out with a new Battle Pass as well, and there's items that are related to that, so we can maybe take a look before we dive into the actual weapons of the Battle Pass. We have a few items that we want to highlight. Obviously, this is going to be themed around something that's a bit more dark, as we mentioned. So we can roll the clip right now and take a look at the flagship items of Year 4 Season 2's Battle Pass. So what can you say about this?
Well, Season 14 introduced a new type of dark. It's a new order called Horkos they arrive, and we don't really know what they are trying to bring with them. We'll find out slowly. There are a lot of mysteries that we that will be unveiled throughout the season.
It's insane.
It's here. It's all in here.
Yeah, I mean the journey is gonna unfold itself for sure. So that looks like a yummy juice. Okay, so let's keep going here. That being said, we've got the weapon sets. We're gonna take a look at the Horko's Trophy Head free roam emote. So that's all part of the battle pass. Again, this is new content coming with Year 4 Season 2. The new weapons, you're getting a sneak peek here on our on the Centurion and the Valkyrie, but we'll actually dive in a bit deeper with the next video that we're gonna show you guys for the battle pass weapons. So let's launch the video, but what can you tell us about this particular set of weapons that are a part of the battle pass for Year 4 Season 2?
Right. The theme of these weapons are the alchemy, the rebirth, and the mysticism. These are the main topic that this first part of a season, and our weapon design will kind of reflect the trend of this dark time. The main material that I use for this one is the red gem, or we can call it like red crystal. Usage will be, you will find out soon. Always assume.
Man, all you're doing is teasing these guys. I can't keep up.
What can I do? Others are the brass and the gold. The suede leather is another one, and lacquer wood for the samurai, and the oxidized metal, which you can see as a little bit of tint of a bluish metal that you get it. Those are the main material that we used. The color wise, it's a bit more saturated, so you will kind of see it's a very vibrant. And it's all the designs and weapon designs are inspired from the medieval. It's kind of bizarre illustration. When you kind of search for alchemy, you see a lot of this type of interesting illustration that they have. They are kind of a fantastic and decorative and artificial in a way. And when you look at the design, there's a lot of hatching lines. It's kind of a straight hatching lines, and the themes there are a sun and there's a moon and creatures, animals, and geographical shapes, and it's a lot of a cool thing that made our job interesting to do.
And the colors I can, this, we just went through the first set, which was for the knights, but I can see also the colors are like a bit more vibrant and a little bit stand out a bit more than the rest of the seasons, maybe.
They are. They will really pop out during in the battlefield. That's the point that I wanted to bring. It's something that when you kind of carry it, I wanted to make it. It's like, it's unique. It's a decorative stuff. It's not threatening, but it's like, what the heck is this?
I tell you right now, I would put every piece of weaponry that you're showing in my kitchen, just like on top of like the splash. I think these are absolutely breathtaking. Incredible work that you guys did. There's geographical shapes, like you said. I'm not much of a mathematician. I failed math 3 times, but I can recognize them. It's incredible.
It's just with on these weapon sets, we wanted the themes to drive whole weapons. Normally we divide it into each faction, so each faction has their own identity of the weapon, even though the theme is like, let's say, fire or ice. But this time I wanted to kind of really stick with the culture, as I did it for the previous one, the Prince of Persia. This one is another very unique one that will kind of make a good collection in your armory. I hope.
These are beautiful. I think the hope is pretty much guaranteed here. These are beautiful, beautiful weapons. So now that was the samurai. Now we're moving into, I believe this is going to be Viking. There we go.
Well, that's good. If you don't recognize it right away,
exactly.
I think we kind of succeeded.
Yeah, there you go. Beautiful.
It's an incredible job that's been done in Chengdu studio. So
Absolutely.
I thank a lot for them. Very talented people in that
Very
studio.
talented. Very talented. When it comes to
Very
art,
creative.
when it comes to art, I think my biggest creative achievement is being able to draw a heart, and that's pretty much it. Like I can do a heart not bad, like on a first try, but even then I have to erase sometimes. So the talent that's here compared to mine, quite drastic difference.
It's quite interesting.
I
This
like
one for the
colors.
Clarissa.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna collect them all. Well, I mean, like, you can when you're, because it's all
Look
in
at
the
this.
battle pass. So.
For Yorm, insane.
Oh, this one's my favorite. The shield.
We're literally using the shield as a canvas.
It's insane.
Well, it was fun. It was really, really fun to design this.
So this is for the Warlord. Again, the shield, just again, breathtaking. Insane. The color is, again, like, I don't know, like, for me, it just stands out. For whatever reason, and you mentioned it, like, you wanted to go for something that is going to stand out in the battlefield, but this time around, there's just something about these weapons that, just, it's so unique. The mix and match of the colors and stuff like that, just, it looks like nobody else has it, It's great. And look at this,
Each
a moon.
season.
That's insane. Exactly, too.
Each season, you will receive something very unique. That was my highest goal for this year, and it's not even halfway there. So
Incredible. Insane. A little rose gold finish there that I'm seeing.
maybe.
What is that? An escargot? Is that a snake?
It's a danger.
It's a nope. It's a nope rope there. Okay, there's two nope ropes. Okay. The Shaolin means business.
And we finished with the bizarre frog.
That's incredible. I mean,
Oh, nice.
I'm game to finish on the Bizarre Frog. By all means, this is actually very incredible. Year 4 Season 2, again, this is the collection of items that you see for the Battle Pass of Year 4 Season 2 Tyranny. Again, we didn't have the flexibility of necessarily being able to pause on each item as we normally do, but you guys kind of get the sense of all of this great stuff that you'll have access to. Again, there's the free pass and the premium pass. So this will be available for the premium pass owners. You'll have that showcase within the VOD if you guys choose to take a look at the items that you want. There'll be more details on the For Honor Game website, so forhonorgame.com. We'll have all of the updates that we're talking about. You get to see all of the tiers of the Battle Pass as well. Andrew, want to thank you for stopping by and taking your time to talk about all of this great new content for Honor Fashion, because we know that that's a big ticket item for our players. Thank you again. I hope you had fun. Did you have fun?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It was a different. I
Yes.
don't have you right next to me, so it's hard to get into it. But then it was still by pleasure to show you guys what we worked very hard for up to this point. I'm really thankful for the whole team, even when we had a difficult time to produce all these assets, but then we never stopped. And this is not it. That's something that I wanted to tell you guys. It's as you told me, as you said before, it's just the tip of iceberg that we reveal to this point. I just cannot wait. But then I just have to wait a little bit longer to reveal everything. And I guarantee you this would, for the content wise also, it's the best season in For Honor history that I can promise that.
You've just raised the bar. But so thank you so much again for stopping by. We're still not done with today's show. We've got one last segment to talk about For Honor Games Mettle Trials, where Test Your Mettle is finally back. And we actually have some customization to show still, because we're bringing some stuff back, ladies and gentlemen. Retrofitted. We're going to get to it with our friend Stefan, and as well as Alex Voyer, to talk about For Honor Games Mettle Trials right after these messages. Oh, baby, we are back with some new face, well, at least one new face and one familiar face. Let's start off with the most important guest, Alex, because Stefan, we already saw you. Alex, how are you? We're here to talk about For Honor Games Mettle Trials. Tell me how your day is going.
It's going good. I gotta admit that last time I was a lot more nervous, but now I'm in the comfort of my living room, so that should be good.
And Stefan, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, undermine your presence. I love you to death, you know that, but I need a jab once in a while. So how you doing?
This is a back and forth you and I have. The will he, won't he? It's a perfect conversation.
It's going to be a battle that rages on for the rest of our lives. But that being said, guys, we've got so much stuff to talk about for Honor Games Mettle Trials. This is. For those of you who don't know, we're bringing back Test Your Mettle. I know that was pretty obvious from the top of the show. And some of you don't know what Test Your Mettle is. And I don't blame you, because it was, a couple of years ago. So maybe you're new to For Honor and you joined in late, and we're going to talk about all of that good stuff because we got a twist. So Clarissa, do you mind setting maybe the context and what this twist really is for Honor Games Mettle Trials?
Yes, I can. We have a lovely PowerPoint for that. But basically, like Elise said in the beginning, the Mettle Trials is going to be in lore with the season. So the narrative, if we can go to the next slide, is while the world's attention was focused on the truce of Wyverndale, a sinister threat grew in the shadows. The festivities of the Honor Games began a new chapter with the reenactment of battles against Apollyon and the Blackstones, but none of the warriors foresaw that the event would soon be remembered as one of the darkest moments in the Heathmoor's history. ...
So much grimness. Is that a word? I don't care. That's crazy, guys.
Grim.
Yeah, it is grim. Yeah, the darkness. But that being said, we have this kind of mixed emotions here. We're starting off Year 4 Season 2, obviously in this context that is still in the Honor Games, but there's something that's going to happen. Shit is going to hit the fan. So we'll see when that happens. But can we dive in maybe more in terms of the game mode, Test Your Mettle? Stefan, can you start us off and bring us back to time with this classic throwback?
Totally. This is a fan favorite, Test Your Mettle, returning in the context of the Honor Games. So you may remember the Honor Games from the previous season of Hope, where basically, people were having fun medieval type kind of battles, not meant to kill each other, but it's swords, it's for honor, it's a bit dangerous to have fun. So heads are going to get lopped off anyway. And here, basically, great fighters have taken on the armor and the mystique of campaign story mode bosses, and you are going to fight them with 3 of your friends, for the enjoyment of the crowd, basically.
And so this may be the answer that we have for why seemingly might be Apollyon in the key arts. I don't know if that's the reason. Maybe we'll find out later in the season. I don't know, guys. I don't know, and I won't tell you today if I did know. But that being said, Stefan, you spoke a little bit about the game mode overview, but maybe let's dive into the details of what it means to really play Test Your Mettle and what players can expect next week.
Totally. So it's a 4v4 elimination game mode. 4 of you are going to be humans, and the other 4 will be the bosses from the campaign mode, the computer-controlled ones. If you don't know if you're a human or a computer, we'll debate that after the show, I guess, to help you out. But other than that, we've got 2 chapters to bring to you. 2 chapters, right? The first chapter, you will fight a random roster. Either it'll be led by Apollyon, and it'll be her knights, or it'll be led by Samurai and his Samurai and the Samurai, Tozen and the Samurai.
Yeah, there we go.
I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Or Gudmundur and the Vikings, and it'll be best of 7 eliminations, super fun. And then in Chapter 2, when that comes, it'll be a boss parade. It'll be made up of Apollyon, Tozen, Shadow of Tozen, and Gudmundur. And it's a super awesome chance for you guys to show off your skills against the story mode bosses one more time. Rules, pretty basic. It's elimination, best of 7. But every time you win a round, the bosses are going to get harder. They might increase their HP, they might get shield HP for the round, or they might get a damage dealt bonus, or they might get multiple as you get towards the later rounds. So it's going to get tougher and tougher and tougher.
So you're basically saying that they're sore losers. This is what I gather.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like, they lost during story mode. They lost in the original Test Your Mettle.
They can't take the L's. I've been taking the L's since the first time I played For Honor, so they have to learn. Okay, that's how I've learned.
It's practice.
Okay, yeah, it is practice, and even the amount of practice that I've gotten hasn't been enough. So, okay, let's get into the actual context of the Honor Games. I know that there's, as you mentioned, kind of the fact that we had this in season 1 of year 4. We're getting into season 2, and we're in the same context. Alex, what can you tell us about the environment that we're going to be playing Test Your Mettle in?
Well, first of all, the Knights decided to host these games in the Shard. So what that means is that they needed to clean it up quite a bit, remove all the debris, fix some walls, fix some towers, and then dress it up to make it look more festive. One of the challenges that we had actually was, how do we differentiate this stadium versus the Samurai one that we had earlier? So this way we went more of like the Ren Fair type of feeling with flags, banners, and decorational crests and whatnot. Of course, the band is back.
Yeah, of course. You need the band. You need music. It's a live event.
You can check it out also. The lighting is all custom for this event, just to really make the colors pop out more and make things feel very festive.
That's true.
Yeah,
and
and
very dark, isn't it?
It's true. It's true. I mean, they've upped their game. They've done a good job as hosts. I'll tell you that much for this event. But with that being said, I mean, I like to describe this a little bit like the Olympics. Is that we've have this this activity that was played in year 4, season 1, and now we're coming into like another sport. We can assume that maybe the Honor Games never really ended, and to start off year 4, season 2, to bring back Test Your Mettle, I think it's a phenomenal twist in terms of what to expect lore-wise. I see some tents in the background. What the hell's going on over there?
Well, since they're having people from all over, every faction, they decided to have accommodations for everyone, I guess.
It's out of everything.
Cool. Yeah,
that's
food,
great.
Drink, everything. And it's pretty gritty too, with arguing crowd members and trash everywhere. It's really cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And that's not it, right? Clarissa, do you want to maybe touch upon the in-game realization as well for this event?
Yeah, so every season, whenever we have an event or something special, we change the main menu and also the face-off. So we do have here the main menu, which is inspired by the key art with a little bonfire right next to our warden over here. Yeah, exactly. And then we also have, for the face-off, inspiration from the trailer with the nice rose or flower, which will turn a little red and disappear. So what's really special about this, though, I don't know what Uri told you, but he told me that something may or may not change between these two realizations. What will it be? I guess we gotta find out.
Just keep up these teases, guys. Just keep them on the cliffhanger. God, it's getting hot. Let's go. Okay, that being said, we talk about the event, the in-game realization, the map, the game mode, but year 4, season 2 also brings back the rewards that we had from Test Your Mettle back in the day. Right now, we're taking a look at the Age of Wolves battle outfit that's coming back So there's common rewards, there's exclusive rewards per week. So all of that good stuff. I don't know if you guys have any favorites in terms of this, but in terms of For Honor fashion, it's one of like the best things that there is out there when it comes to being edgy.
Wait till you see the execution mood effects that comes with this one right here. It's really insane and it's super cool. I can't wait to equip it. I think it's my new favorite.
That's gonna be sick. And so that being said, let's dive in maybe into the armor sets as well, because we've got those. Again, the details that have to do with this, we're looking at the Black Prior. This was a Harbinger hero, so they didn't get that set because they didn't exist. That's how that works. That being said, for it to be fully that kind of dark and black material, you need to actually apply it over and above the gear sets that are available during this event. Again, this is a 3-week event from June 11th, which is next week. Actually, it's today. No, June 4th when we're recording this, actually. My bad. And then it ends July 2nd, so you have the availability of these gears and these weapon sets that we'll take a look at. But do you have any favorites in this, Alex?
Definitely the Black Prior.
Yeah,
with that Grim Reaper look. It's so cool.
And this, of course, is the Wulin.
Yeah, for me, it's these guys. They didn't have it. Well, I guess the Harbingers didn't have it either first time. So these are all new, and they are crazy. And each one's crazier than the last.
It's nuts. And obviously you guys see, they dominated. But also in the background, you guys don't see it necessarily in full perspective. But we're showing you the new ones. But obviously these are available for all of the heroes. And again, you have to apply that black material to get the full effect. But these are the new armor sets for the characters that didn't exist at the time, and we also have weapons. Stefan, I know you're part of the fight team, so this is kind of your bread and butter. Is there any character specifically that you have always equipped a certain item for these rewards?
For me specifically, I do actually still have a Conch rocking this. And then also on the emotes, I love hearing the voice line. I've got some of the dark armors. I thought I grinded everything out, but I guess I gotta hit the battlefield again for this stuff.
Yeah, baby.
Wulin need it. Oh my god, those armors for the Wulin.
They're so sick. They're so sick.
Ornate. Can't wait.
Clarissa, do you have the black armor sets for Shaman?
Actually, I do. I mean, I kind of changed it recently because I was rocking it ever since it was released. So now it's more of a pink kind of vibe. But my PK actually still has the Apollyon battle outfit, and I like spamming the war. I am war emo because it just sounds like her saying war, 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 war.
But I mean, the good news about all of this, guys, is that these are available for the 3 weeks, and it's just by playing the game. So it's really awesome. For 3 weeks, you get these throwback items. We're talking about a brand new chapter in For Honor, something that's going to evolve in Year 4 Season 2. We're starting off in a bright point, but there's something that's a little bit weird that's going on. Before we let you go, again, thank you so much for joining us. Do you guys have any last words and maybe hype words for Year 4 Season 2 of Tyranny? Stefan, why don't you start us off?
I mean, for me, the whole group, the whole dev team is super excited. Top to bottom, Tester Mettle was a fan favorite. Centurion getting the buff, a number of good patch notes and so on. And we're just getting started in Season 14 here. Current prediction is best season of For Honor.
Wow, that's a major bar. That's a major bar. And Alex, for yourself?
Quote this.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, like Stefan mentioned, the team worked so hard on this, and honestly, we just can't wait to hear some of the feedback.
Yeah, and this journey is just not over yet. Again, guys, thank you so much for taking the time today. It's gonna be a hell of a ride. I think we all said that and teased it all throughout the stream. So let's say bye to Stefan and Alex. Thank you again, guys. At that point, this is the end of the show, guys. Clarissa, did you have fun?
I had a blast. I mean, it's not the same when we're not right next to each other or anything like that. But, it's still Warriors Den regardless. And my favorite part about Warriors Den, at least, especially with the season reveals, is just unpacking all the stuff that we can talk about. And then also, teasing about what may happen.
Exactly. And that being said, I want to make a huge shout out to all of the people that are involved in making this happen. Not only the seasons. Again, this is a huge shout out to the For Honor dev team that's been working from home. Obviously, you guys, the players that have been waiting, this season was delayed for 6 weeks. A lot of work went into making sure that everything that we talked about today and didn't talk about today makes it into this season. I want to shout out everybody that made this live stream happen. That includes Andre, Claudio, Seb, Mathilde, Max, all of you guys. A huge thank you because, it made it seamless. Even though we're from home, it feels like, we did our best to make it like we're not. So again, so much more to come. We want to thank you guys for stopping by today and, hanging out with us. I know there's a lot of content that we covered. You guys can go back, watch it, dream about it. I know that's what I'm doing. So that being said, huge thank you to yourself, Clarissa, for doing this with me. It's always a pleasure. And
well, we have to take a huge thanks to you because, you really set the energy for Warriors Den. Like, everyone's always pumped up. Like, you stress out a lot too. I mean, that's part of it. But, it doesn't really show. Like, you're really,
I thank
you're really
you.
awesome.
Thank you.
So
thank you very much, Clarissa. But again, the content this season, I know, it's not hard. It's not hard for me to get hyped. Okay, yeah. Centurion has a face. Like, come on. Like, did anybody expect that shit? No, they didn't. That being said, we've got a video that we're gonna pass by for executions. Isn't that right, Clarissa?
Yeah, so if you saw between these transitions, we had executions. Yes, new executions are coming to For Honor. When? Right now. June 4th. Right. Not next week when their season launches, but you can now get those executions in-game.
Year 4, Season 2, Tyranny starts next week, June 11th, guys. Thank you again. It's going to be a doozy, baby. Let's get it. Ciao, guys.